and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1952B, and today's date is August 25th, 2019, and the title of the episode is The Perfect Storm is Forming. It Will Not End Well for Many. Now, before we get started, I wanted to talk about being prepared. With all the common threats nowadays in America, especially with the major earthquakes happening in California, the future of America and the stability of its power grid are not promised, and either is your safety. One of the best things you can invest in for your protection if the lights go out is a solar power bank. And why not purchase one of the best solar banks on the market, the Patriot Solar Bank? Never waste money on batteries again. The Patriot Power Bank is solar powered. With a dual USB port, you can charge up to 2 devices at once. Charge your phone anywhere, anytime with the solar-powered USB port. Users have reported this solar bank to be an all-in-one lifesaver and won't go anywhere without it. It's lightweight but very durable, compact but great handling for all emergencies. The Patriot Solar Bank is the perfect gift for you and your family. Limited supplies last, as this is the very last chance to get yours at a discount before they sell out. Take advantage now and give you and your family the gift of power anywhere in the world. Please visit patriotsolarbank.com. Use the code X15 to get 15% off. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, what we are witnessing right now is a perfect storm forming. Why do I say this? Well, think about it for a second. What do we see happening? Well, we know there's been investigations going on for quite a while. We know there's a declass, the Horowitz report. We know that Durham and Huber and Barr, they're all working on this, and they're looking at the email scandal from Hillary Clinton. They're looking at the Uranium One scandal, Hillary Clinton. They're looking at the spying, which is the Obama administration. And then on the other side, we have all the sex cult scandals. We have Epstein, Ray Chandler, 100 times larger than Allison Mack, that had to do with Nexium. We're seeing other sex cults that have to do with minors having sex with adults. All of this information is pouring out. And we're getting more and more information about Epstein, which implicates actors, politicians, certain individuals like Prince Andrew that are part of the royal family. All of this is continually leaking out. Now think about this for a second. As this information continually leaks out, it puts all these people on the defensive. They have to defend why they were there. They have to defend themselves of why they were friends with Epstein. They have to defend themselves saying, oh, I knew nothing about this. But as more and more evidence pours out, how do you defend these pictures? Now, of course, they can go into the entire agenda of deep fakes, which eventually this is where we're going to end up, but they're on the defensive, and they're going to have to continually defend and defend and defend. This is the way the Patriots set it up. The Patriots are on the offensive. They're pushing out the evidence. The deep state, certain players, they're on the defensive, and they have to continually come up with excuses of why they were doing all of this. Now, to help this out, we know they've been placing operatives on the mainstream media networks. Mccabe, as we know, he is the 10th ex-FBI or CIA official hired by the network in recent years. Now, if we look at CNN right now, we have quite a few individuals. James Clapper, Andrew Mccabe, James Baker, Josh Campbell, Asha Rangappa, Stephen Hall, Phil Mudd, Susan Hennessy, Samantha Vinograd, James Gagliano. On MSNBC, we have John Brennan, Frank Figluzzi, Chuck Rosenberg, Malcolm Nance, Jeremy Bash. And as you can see, they continually hire these clowns to protect the narrative so they can explain away why all of this is happening. But this is going to be a big fail because some of these individuals are going to be implicated in scandals. And they're going to have to try to explain this away. Remember, they're on the defensive right now. Mark Meadows chimes in regards to Andrew Mccabe. Andrew Mccabe, fired for lying to the FBI, caught by the Inspector General for unauthorized media leaks, and worst of all, one of the ringleaders in spreading the debunked and disastrous Russian collusion conspiracy theory. His reward? A paid CNN contract. Comical. And yes, it is comical. These individuals who lied, cheat, steal, and commit treasonous acts, they're rewarded with high-paying jobs. Well, the reason why they're doing this is they're setting them in place to protect everything that has happened. But this is going to fail. Now, Trump, at a press conference, he said that he was the chosen one. Well, actually, he is. The military asked him to restore the country economically, to get rid of the treasonous criminals, put them behind bars, and set the country on the right path. But the mainstream media, they went crazy about this, about Trump being the chosen one. Well, did he do this to set them up? Was he playing with the mainstream media? Remember, he was chosen for this position. He has a particular task, and it has to do with the economy, with the central bank, and the swamp. And he needs to reset everything. So yes, he was chosen, but I think he was playing with the mainstream media to make it seem like it was much larger than that. And, of course, it was a joke, and the mainstream media went off on it. Trump tweeted out the following: "When I looked up to the sky and jokingly said, 'I am the chosen one,' at a press conference 2 days ago, referring to taking on trade with China, little did I realize that the media would claim that I had a messiah complex. They knew I was kidding, being sarcastic, and just having fun. I was smiling as I looked up and around. The many reporters with me were smiling also. They knew the truth. And yet, when I saw the reporting CNN, MSNBC, and other fake news outlets covered it as serious news, and me thinking of myself as the Messiah, no more trust." And he's absolutely right, but I believe he might have done this on purpose. He's playing with the mainstream media, keeping them very busy, and then turning around and saying, "This is fake. You don't understand jokes. You don't understand sarcasm." I mean, think about what they're doing. They're reporting on nothing. Now, we know the declass, fisa, and the Horowitz report, they're coming out very, very soon. And how do we know this? Remember Q's post 3570? C before D, Coates before declass. The month of August is traditionally very hot. You have more than you know. Well, Paul Sperry, he tweeted out the following: "Finally, Senate Judiciary Chair Lindsey Graham has vowed to call witnesses to testify before the committee, but only after the Horowitz report is released. However, he says he's more interested in reforming the Department of Justice and FBI than looking backwards and holding guilty officials accountable." So, right here, Lindsey Graham is going to be calling witnesses to testify before the committee. And he's going to reform the Department of Justice and FBI, because they need to look forward and they need to drain the swamp all at the same time. Let's move on to Jeffrey Epstein. And what we see happening right now with Jeffrey Epstein is that the narrative is being created. And if you noticed, more information is continually pouring out. The investigation has not stopped. They have intensified. Now, this is coming out of the Epoch Times. And they're reporting that ABC and Vanity Fair, they interviewed Epstein accusers but never published the accounts. Maria and Annie Farmer said that Epstein's longtime associate, Maxwell, met them and convinced them to meet Epstein. They said Maria was sexually assaulted by both Epstein and Maxwell, and that Annie, 15 at the time, was sexually assaulted by Epstein at his ranch in New Mexico. The girls were interviewed by Vanity Fair, but the story the outlet published on Epstein's included no mention of the girls whatsoever. Before it was published, Epstein himself had shown up to Vanity Fair offices and spoke to then editor-in-chief Graydon Carter. And basically what happened there was that Jeffrey Epstein was torturing Graydon. This is coming from John Connolly, a Vanity Fair contributor editor at the time. And Epstein pressed Carter on the story, later repeatedly calling him, and then Carter received a severed head of a dead cat and a bullet at his apartment to make sure that he does not run this story. And they ran the story without the girls. Now, they came out saying, oh, we needed 3 sources, and that's why we didn't put this in there, and this is why we left the names out. And all of a sudden, they're worried about their sources when most of the time they make up all their sources. But both Maria and Annie said, listen, we will sign a document stating that this is the truth, and we will do it under oath. But they didn't want to accept that. They just left that out. But I think Jeffrey Epstein, he was pushing them to make sure they didn't put any of this in there. Now, out of the Daily Mail, we now have Woody Allen is also pictured leaving Jeffrey Epstein's mansion. We have Prince Andrew, which we know, and he's trying to defend himself. We have Katie Couric, Chelsea Handler, and George Stephanopoulos. If you notice, more and more people are being thrown out there, and they need to explain why they are pictured with Epstein, why they are pictured with this individual. And this is all being done on purpose. Remember all those Q posts of Eminem and Britney Spears and the rest? I believe this is going to be huge. Now, more and more child sex trafficking rings are coming to light. There's a Colombian Instagram model moonlighted as an international underage sex trafficking madame who recruited vulnerable girls to service celebrity clients, according to the authorities right now. And this individual is Liliana del Carmen Campos Puello. And the trial is beginning, and prosecutors are saying that she headquartered the child prostitution ring along with 17 others. Authorities arrested the accused in July of 2018 on a sting operation known as Operation Vesta. And as you can see around the world, they're arresting these sex trafficking rings and these high-profile individuals that are involved in this. Their names are being brought out into the open. And I don't believe it's just Epstein, just like we can see here with this other individual. I believe there's many around the world. And when you expose all of them, you can see all the players. And these are going to be very high-profile individuals. And as we know, these high-profile individuals, they're going to be on the defensive. They have to continually explain why all this is happening. Now, Neon Revolt, he tweeted out the following: Prince Andrew's statement on Epstein, reconcile. And remember, Q showed us posts with Prince Andrew. It's been all over the place, where he's with these individuals. And Prince Andrew, look, he's on the defensive. He wrote a letter, statement from His Royal Highness the Duke of York. And he wrote, and I'll just read the first part of this. It is apparent to me since the suicide of Mr. Epstein that there has been an immense amount of media speculation about so much in his life. This is particularly the case in relation to my former associate or friendship with Mr. Epstein. Therefore, I am eager to clarify the facts to avoid further speculation. I met Mr. Epstein in 1999. During the time I knew him, I saw him infrequently and probably no more than only once or twice a year. I've stayed in a number of his residences. At no stage during the limited time I spent with him did I see, witness, or suspect any behavior of the sort that subsequently led to his arrest and convictions. What is Andrew doing right now? He's defending himself, saying, I know nothing, I saw something, and I barely knew the guy. Guess what's going to happen? More and more information, more and more pictures. And remember, Q has told us they have it all. Everything was wired in Epstein's homes. Why? To blackmail these individuals if they needed something. Guess what the Patriots have? They have all this footage. They know. And once it's released, these players are going to have to defend themselves. This is the perfect storm right now. Destroy their character, destroy their reputation, bring out everything else they've done. Bring it together, and you have the perfect storm. Now let's head on down to the border. We can see the construction of the new border wall is continuing. USBP chief tweeted out the following: Construction of the new border wall system continues near San Luis, Arizona. We've completed over 60 miles of new border wall system so far with the help of USA CHQ. This new system improves impedance and denial of illegal entries, making the border safer for both my agents and our nation. And as you can see, this is a video of the wall being built. They're putting up the steel dividers, and it is sped up so you can see how much they are doing. And the wall is being built, and it is working. Now, very interestingly, as we know, Trump is at the G7 meeting in France, and it seems Macron decided to have the Iran Foreign Minister Zarif travel to the G7. Now, the question is, why did Macron do this? Because this is a surprise trip by Zarif. He had only been known to be traveling in the coming days to Asia as part of his tour to get support for Iran amid the U.S. campaign against it, since Trump withdrew America from Tehran's 2015 nuclear deal with world powers. And why did he show up here? Why did Macron want him to show up? Because Macron is trying to save this deal. He's trying to maneuver Trump out of what he's doing. But Trump is not going to fall for this. And this whole thing is not going to work. Now, on the other hand, maybe Trump and Zarif, even though Zarif is saying, I am not going to meet with the U.S. whatsoever, maybe they are meeting in the back room. Maybe they are hashing out a deal. Maybe they're talking. We've seen this with North Korea. We've seen this before. This is not the first time. And I wouldn't be surprised if something else happens here. Now, I just wanted to give everyone an update on QAnon and 8chan. Right now, as we can see, Trump is continually letting us know that Q is fine and well. And Ron, who is CodeMonkeyZ, he tweeted out the following: to everybody asking, we will remain offline until at least September 5th, 2019. Thank you for all your support and kind words. As law-abiding Americans, we will need you all to be respectfully vocal in the days before the hearing. Please stay tuned. And remember, the owner, Watkins, he's going to be testifying in front of Congress during this period of time. And right after it, on the 5th, they believe they will have the ability to bring it all back up. And I do believe that Q, once it's all back up, Q will start to post once again, because I do believe there is going to be a lot happening right now. Remember, the summer is hot. We're moving into the latter part of 2019. Elections are coming up, and I think a lot of things are going to happen. Now, very interestingly, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she is back in the news, and she has pancreatic cancer. And what's very interesting about this is I need to go back to post 3195 here. And it gave us a recording from cspan.org. We played this before, and Q specifically said, look at 1956, and it looks like it was spliced, and they spliced in Ruth Bader Ginsburg into this section. And then under this, Q says, what is, and this is in brackets in all bold, RBG's current state of health? Are pictures being avoided for a reason? Pics in and out of home, in and out of cars equals easy. And then all of a sudden we get word that Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she has pancreatic cancer. And I do believe that Trump and the Patriots, they already have someone selected and ready to go to bring in once Ginsburg is reported that she can no longer serve on the Supreme Court. Now, if you notice, the deep state, they're continually trying to keep her in this position as long as possible. Now, a lot of people do believe that she's not even around. But at this point, it doesn't make a difference, because they are trying to keep this position in the Supreme Court. They don't want to give it up, but I do believe the time is coming where they will have no choice but to say that she can no longer serve, or she passed away, or something like that. And it will give that position to Trump and the Patriots. And if you really look around, you can see that the deep state, the central bank, the elite around the world, they are struggling to hold on to what they had, and it is all falling apart. There is a perfect storm. It is forming. And when the two storms clash, there's going to be many people that are going to go down with the ship. We all know this. But all those people that are sleeping, those people that think that, Trump is destroying the country, Trump is doing this, and they're going to wake up one day and they're going to realize it was completely the opposite. It was everyone else that was destroying the country. It was everyone else that was committing treason. It was everyone else that was committing crimes. It was everyone else that was committing crimes against humanity. And this is going to be a shock to the nation. And they're going to learn all of this. And they're going to realize that everything that was put out there, everything that they tried to convince them of, is actually the opposite. And we've known this for a very long time. We've been saying this for a very long time. Anything that the mainstream media, the central bank, the deep state says, always think the opposite. Think mirror. And guess what? That time is almost here. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.